I don't want anything to do with my half-siblings, so I'm 18F and in my last year of high school. Although I love my dad a lot, he is a habitual cheater. I truly hate that part of him. I know that my mother despises it too since they have had some really bad arguments about it, but in the end, they always forgive each other and move on. So over the course of my entire life, my dad has fathered 4 half-siblings with another on the way from a girl who is only 6 years older than me. The oldest, Eliza, is 15F, and the youngest is 2M. I seriously hate that he does this so much. I have repeatedly told him that I wish he could just be faithful to our family, but he never is. My best memories are of him, my mom, and me all being together. And the worst part is whenever I yell or get mad at him about it, he seems happy about it and tells me he's proud that I'm willing to stand up for myself and that he knows I'll never let anybody push me around. Like, he makes me feel good for being angry. I never minded that he'd spend time with his other kids or pay for their school or child support or anything like that until now. Eliza transferred into my school in September but only started a little bit ago because she was in the hospital. Even though it's an all-girls academy, it's not the biggest school, and people talk. Some of my friends asked, "She looks like you. She has the same last name, and your dad went with her to the principal's office. Is that your cousin?" I've said no, but I'm sure she's had the same questions from her friends. She came up to me twice already asking if we could hang out and get to know each other because she wants to have a big sister. I've shut her down twice, and according to my dad, she cried the second time. He told me I don't have to do anything with her but to be polite, and if she reveals we're siblings, I can't deny who she is, and I should get to know her and the others. I try to be courteous, but I just don't want any connection with her or any of my other half-siblings, and I don't want people to know we're sisters. It's not their fault for being born, but I shouldn't be expected to do anything with them just because my dad can't stop cheating. They're his responsibility, not mine. New post. Am I the a-hole for yelling after my father brought my half-sister into our family therapy? So I didn't even know my dad could do this. I'm so pissed about it, but I also feel really terrible. So yesterday was family counseling night, and I, 18F, appreciate going because it helps get all the secrets out and it makes me feel good, like my family is normal. But my mom, 39F, didn't go because my cousin gave birth, and she wanted to be there to see her. So it was just me and my dad, 44M, going, which is fine. We've been there alone many times before. But waiting in the counselor's office already was my half-sister Eliza, 15F, and I don't know why it just made me upset seeing her there. I didn't avoid participating in the counseling session, but it made me really sad and mad at the same time, and the counselor figured out what was going on, but my dad didn't, and I couldn't even talk properly. It felt like Eliza was trying to make me look like a villain for not letting people know she was my sister, which I never said she couldn't tell, just that I didn't want her to, and not wanting to spend time with her, which I don't. When we went back home, my dad asked me what was wrong and why I was so quiet, and I just yelled at him that he shouldn't have brought her without asking, and I felt like he broke my trust. He didn't say anything, but I could tell I hurt him. I just went to bed after crying. He came into my room later to talk, but I pretended to sleep, and he kissed me on the forehead and left. I know I made him feel really bad, and I haven't seen him all day. He's over visiting my baby half-brother. My mom told me that I shouldn't have used the words I did since I'm 18 now, and I just feel like a major asshole about it all. Edit. Since someone suggested I add this, my dad is a serial cheater and has 4 kids, soon to be 5, out of his marriage to my mom, but I still love him a lot because he's a very good dad. Update. So just to give everyone an update, my dad didn't come home all day on Saturday because my baby half-brother, 2 years old, was in the hospital. Apparently things are really bad with him, and the day after he came back from the hospital, we had a big talk about what happened. I want to thank everyone who pointed out I was right to be upset, but I had things to think about regarding Eliza because she was hurting too. First, Dad apologized for not telling me that he was bringing Eliza into the counseling session and that he wouldn't ever do anything like that again. I apologized for swearing while yelling, and he forgave me. When he asked me if I understood Eliza was hurting too, I told him I did, and he suggested we have our own counseling. I told him that I'd think on it. The second thing that he told me is there's a chance that my baby half-brother might die, and that news put the things I said in perspective for him. He told me he'd already talked about it with my mom and his mistress, but was asking me for permission because he hurt me the most, and never should have. He wanted to know if I'd be okay with him going to inpatient rehab for sex addiction, which I didn't know was a thing. I said yes because I hope it'll help him, even though I know that I'm going to miss him a lot. Like some of you suggested, I agreed to counseling with Eliza on Wednesdays. We had only one session so far, and even though we aren't close or anything, I think she understands why I feel the way I do, and apologized to me because she didn't realize how hurt I was because of Dad. After she confessed that being hospitalized made her feel normal since Dad visited her every day, I felt bad and apologized for not caring about her. She still feels upset about me not wanting to let her tell people we're sisters, but told me she's okay since we're doing counseling, and we might one day get close. I don't know if we will, but at least we won't hate each other. I also took Eliza with me to visit our baby half-brother in the hospital, and it surprised his mom that we came there. I'm still not forgiving her though. He's a really sweet kid, and I regret not seeing him much before. It's hard to admit, but I originally made this Reddit account to rant about my half-siblings, but you guys really helped change my approach and what I'll use this account for later on. New post. My baby half-brother brother might die, and I'm scared about what I'm supposed to do. If you're wondering if this is related to the update post I posted on another subreddit an hour ago, it is, but that was written Friday and it took until today to approve. So things have changed since it was written, and it's taken a turn. I, 18F, have never been close with any of my half-siblings. I have 4, soon to be 5. My dad is a serial cheater, and I'll admit that I wanted nothing to do with them all. But the events of the last 2 weeks kinda sorta made me change my mind on it. I'm not friends with any of them, but I just started counseling with my younger half-sister, Eliza, 15F. Our youngest half-brother, Ilya, 2M, got an infection, and he's been in the hospital for a little over a week now. I've visited him once with Eliza on Wednesday, which surprised his mother, 24F, since she knows I don't like her. Today, my dad gave me the news that he's gotten a lot worse. I don't know who to talk to about this. I don't feel like I can talk to my mom. My dad seems emotionally exhausted, and it's only strangers on the internet here, so I guess I feel like I can vent. I mean, I want him to get better, but I've never thought of him as family, and didn't even think I loved him. I still don't actually, but I'm feeling scared and anxious. I don't know if I should talk to my dad, or if I should go to the hospital again, or even talk to his mother. New post. My baby half-brother died, and he didn't even get to see Christmas. I don't know if this is the right sub to post about this, but I don't know what the fuck to do. My baby brother died just hours before midnight, so he didn't even see Christmas. I can't talk to my dad because he won't stop crying. My mom doesn't care. The only other person who even knew him is my half-sister. She left after he stopped breathing and hasn't responded. Like, fuck, I don't get it. I didn't even think I liked him or loved him. I thought I hated all my half-siblings, and I hated his mom for trying to take my dad. It's like I missed out on the small time he had because I was so fucking spoiled and selfish. I got him a teddy bear for Christmas, and he'll never get to play with it. I wish I could have seen him happy because I was wrong and he did matter. Now when I go to my aunt's house tomorrow, I'm going to have to pretend like nothing fucking happened for my mom, but I can't stop crying now. Fuck it. I'll leave in all my typos this time. He was so cute, and he deserved a better sister than me. All of them do. I miss you, Ilya. I wish I could hold you again. New post. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to give a speech at my baby brother's funeral? So my baby half-brother Ilya died 3 days ago just before Christmas. I don't want to be posting this, but nobody else is listening. Ilya's mom was a TA at my school, so that's how she knows that I'm able to give good speeches. I won the award in grade 9 for best speech. Well, yesterday I went with my dad to meet her because I've felt like such shit since he died, and I know she's feeling worse than anyone. My dad said he'd handle all the funeral costs and arrangements. He mentioned that it's his family's tradition for fathers, the oldest brother, and if any, nephews to speak at funerals. Since my other half-brother is still too young, my dad suggested me because I'm the oldest, and Ilya's mom seemed cheered up. I said yes then, but the entire night I've been scared about it. I don't know what to discuss or what to write about. I know it means a lot to my dad that I said yes, and a lot to Ilya's mom that I actually cared for Ilya, but I'm scared because I don't know, but I am. I tried writing this morning but kept feeling like crying. I tried talking to my mom about it even though she hates hearing about my half-siblings. She told me that since I committed to it, I had to do it and uphold my father's family tradition as best I could. My dad hasn't answered his phone, but I know he'd be disappointed too. I felt super shitty and like a super asshole all morning for not wanting to do it anymore. I'm sorry for rambling, but am I the a-hole for not wanting to do it anymore? I'm feeling really confused. Edit. I'm a girl, but I'm the oldest, which is why my dad suggested I do it to stick as close to the tradition. Edit 2. I get it, you've read my past posts. It's not an excuse to send me fucked up DMs. New post. Update. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to give a speech at my baby brother's funeral? So, I wasn't planning on posting this because I got some nasty DMs because of my old posts, but my therapist said it might be good to have closure on all fronts, so here I am. I admitted to my dad that I was scared to give a speech, and I didn't feel like I deserved to because I barely knew Ilya. He told me it was okay and to just write something, and he'd say it for me if I wanted. I couldn't come up with anything, so I just noted down a Buddhist prayer my mother taught me when her cousin passed away. Ilya's mom said the prayer was acceptable and I could say it in Chinese. At the funeral, I chose to say the prayer, and my dad and my half-sister Eliza stood by me in case I couldn't finish. It helped that there weren't many people because it was right after New Year's. I recited the prayer in Chinese and then in English. I was only on stage for about 2 minutes, and I kind of broke down immediately after finishing. I cried so much that the rest of the funeral was just a blur. Honestly, I can't even remember the rest. Just going home and falling asleep crying in my mom's lap. My dad left for inpatient rehab the day after the funeral. It's been odd being at home with just me and mom, especially since it's difficult to talk to mom about Ilya. Eliza wants me to introduce her to our other half-siblings, Sean and Mateo, but I feel so horrible, especially since Ilya resembled Mateo a lot as a toddler. I've just been awful to all of them. I agreed to it though, so I guess I'll tough it out and see if I can do it next week. I visited Ilya's mom when she messaged me. It was kind of awkward because I felt so bad for resenting her for so long. She gave me some of his ashes in a vial as a thank you for loving him. It doesn't feel like I deserved it though. I'm keeping it in my room, but I heard they can be infused into jewelry, so I'm going to ask my dad to do that once he's back, so I can always have him with me. It'll be the only jewelry that I'll actually like wearing. Hope that provides some closure for you guys apologize too. Thanks to those of you who pointed out I didn't need to do anything. Comments. Commenter wishes Oop well in her future and hopes she's never in a relationship with cheating. OOP responds, "Don't worry, I won't ever tolerate cheating when I'm dating. I take kickboxing for a reason." Commenter remarks on OOP's mom telling her she is a result of failed contraceptives. OOP responds, "Yeah, that wound me up when she told me because my mom loves me more than anything. But yeah, it took a while for me to wrap my head around the fact that my mom does so much for me and loves me so much, but never wanted me in the first place." Commenter asks OP if she will pursue a relationship with her half-siblings. OP responds, "I guess Eliza and I already have kind of a bond. We're more like distant cousins than friends, but maybe we will be close someday. I'm not going to try and push her away anymore." As for Mateo and Sean, I don't know. I guess it depends on their moms. Sean's always been so eager to see me, and Mateo used to be that way too, but he wasn't the last time I saw him. I won't act how I did before. I was so shit to them. Commenter asks OP what her ethnicity is. OP responds, "I'm mixed. My dad's white and my mom's Chinese." New post. A question about reincarnation? Hi, I don't know if this is the right place to ask. I'm a Buddhist through my mom, but not really religious. I'll be honest, I don't really understand much either, and we only go to the temple once a month, and I've skipped that a lot. A little bit ago, my baby brother died, but I guess I've held on to this belief that he'll be back someday or already is, even though I'll never know who he becomes. But his mom wasn't a Buddhist, and even though he was only 2, so a baby, he wasn't either. I guess I just have to ask, will he be back someday? Or have I been thinking about all of this wrong? Is there anything I can read to help me understand this better? Anything in English or Chinese works for me. New post, an update on my situation with my half-siblings. So, I wasn't sure where to post this, but I figure if anybody gives a shit, they can find it here. I guess the first thing is that I took Eliza to meet our other half-siblings, Sean and Mateo. I took her to see Sean first, cause she's smaller, 6 turning 7, and is always so happy when she gets to see me. I don't know, I hadn't seen her since August, so I grabbed her some toys that I thought were suitable for her age as a present or an apology for not seeing her more. Well, her mom let us in, and as soon as Sean saw me, she gave me a big hug and so many kisses. I felt like crying again as I always treated her terribly just for being there, and she never cared, and always just loved me for being her big sister. I introduced Eliza and gave her the presents, but she was more excited about finally meeting her other sister. Her mom noticed I was about to cry, so she took me aside so I could without Shan noticing. I was mean to her before too, and all she said was to come see Sean more if I ever miss Ilya if it helps. It was fun playing with Shan. She wouldn't let go of me and kept making me carry her on my shoulders, but it hurt realizing how much she'd grown since August, and that I've missed so much of her life too. I feel like I have a lot to make up for. I have been visiting her once a week before my counseling with Eliza. It's fun to see her, and her mom makes fantastic Vietnamese food. I took her to see Mateo a few days later, and because he's a boy and older, he's 12, and his mom's a total bitch, I knew it would be different, and I was more nervous. I didn't know what to get him, but I know Dad got him a PS5, so I got him the Spider-Man game and the Spyro game. I played that old one on the Wii with the apes at a friend's house once, and it was fun. His mom let us in, but it was like she didn't want us there, which is fair. I guess because I only ever visited before with Dad. She did say sorry about our brother and just let us go to Mateo's room. He was surprised to see me and gave me a nice hug, but he was kinda colder to Eliza because he's shy. He did give her a hug when she gave him the games though, so. He made us play Call of Duty with him before we had to go. He only gave me a hug when we left, and it seemed like a sincere hug this time because he did say he loves me and missed me. I wanted to cry again when I saw his baby and toddler pictures because he looked so much like Ilya. They kind of resemble my dad more than my uncle, but they look so similar they could have been twins. So I've seen him less than Sean, really only when Dad goes, and I'm with him because it feels uncomfortable with his mom just hovering around. Anyway, my dad came back from inpatient just before Valentine's. It's like he's a whole new person. The first thing he did was go to my mom and apologize profusely to her for cheating, and promised he would never do it again. He started crying while doing it, saying he knew he didn't deserve forgiveness, and even begged her not to divorce him. She told him to break up with his mistress and settle legal matters over her pregnancy, switch his work to remote full-time, agree to go to China for a month with us, and fulfill many other conditions, and he agreed to it all immediately. I don't know what happened to him there because he's never been like that before. Then he came to me and gave me the biggest hug he's ever given me, and wouldn't stop kissing me on the forehead and my cheeks, telling me how much he missed me and how sorry he was for hurting me. He promised over and over again that he'd never do it again. He sat us down and we had a family meeting, and I don't want to get too into it, but apparently a psychiatrist or doctor or whatever where he went diagnosed him with something called hypersexual disorder. Not sure how it's different from sex addiction. And he'd be taking more therapy and medication to treat it. He's also letting mom track his location at all times. We also all went to dinner at a really fancy restaurant for Valentine's. Since then, he and my mom have seemed so much happier than before. I really hope that he's changed, because since then, it feels like my home is finally what other people have. When I asked my dad about getting what I have of Ilya's ashes infused in some gems, he agreed immediately. I don't know how, but he found a place and got the small portion of ashes Ilya's mom gave me, infused into 4 small rubies since that was his birthstone. I placed the gems on the altar that my mom had set up in my room. I'm not particularly religious, and when I was younger, I used to find the Buddha statue a bit eerie, but I've been praying at the altar now every day before I go to school and have been accompanying my mom to the temple and volunteering there with her too. We used to only go once a month, but she said she's enjoyed taking me every week, so we're doing it more often. I don't know how much I believe or if I'm even considered a good Buddhist, but doing all that is making me feel better about things. I don't know how much more I'll use the account again unless I need to vent about something, but maybe you'll find me asking questions over on the Buddhism subreddit if I forget to ask them at the temple or goofing off on the teenagers subreddit. I guess the last thing is we've also started planning a family vacation in summer to be with my aunt's family in Kunming as my graduation gift since one of my cousins is getting married. My mom even promised to show me the places in Dali she stayed and lived in before my grandparents sort of adopted her. I haven't been to China in 8 years, and I'm so excited to see my aunt, cousins, and to finally see my uncle and grandparents again, going to the village too. My aunt, cousins, nieces, and nephews who live here are all going to be going too, except the one who had a baby a little while ago. So it's going to be the first time in so long that my entire family is going to be together, so I know it's going to be the best summer. Had to leave things on a positive note.